In the previous video, I showed you how you can edit your page. You can add some text content to that page, do some basic formatting on that, and then save the page again. Now I'm just going to show you some of the other formatting options that you have when you're in edit mode on your page. Up here on the ribbon, you'll see the clipboard, the font, and the paragraph section. Now those will behave just as you would expect from any Office product. You can change the font, the style, you can center some text or whatever. You also then have the style section here. So if I hover over a style, if I click on a text area first, when I hover over a style, you'll see the text change, and I can select that style and choose that. I click here and I can see a whole range of preset styles, but what the function that I don't have that I would have had, for example, in Microsoft Word, is the ability to create new styles. If you want to have new styles created, those would have to be done by your designer or administrator. I can show you how to do that as well in another video, but out of the box, you just have these preset styles. I also showed you in the previous video that you have three content areas here. You have one that's across the top, and you have two columns here. Here's the first and here's the second. Now this is defined by your text layout, which you can change. If you click on this here, you can see previews of the different text layout options that you have. I'm going to choose two columns with header and footer, and you'll see now the footer section has been created, and I can now put content in here. Something to watch out for with this feature, however, is if you click on text layout, if you change the text layout quite radically, I'm going to choose three columns, for example. What you may notice is that SharePoint actually has merged the first and second section together. The third section stands alone here as the second, and the footer is created as the third column. Now, you may not have expected SharePoint to do that, but that's how SharePoint has interpreted this layout change. You would also think that if you change the layout back to where you started, that everything would go back to normal. However, I'm going to do that now, and you'll see that that's actually not the case. The header is now blank, whereas it used to have this section here. The documents is still in the same place, but the content that was in the footer is now in this column. So just be very careful when you're using this feature, and if you get stuck, make sure you click on this button here, click Stop Editing, and make sure you discard your changes. You'll also see this final section here, this markup section. Now, this is really for advanced users, but if you want to edit the HTML source of the page, you can do that. There's other options here for converting to XHTML. You can also select elements based on their HTML element. Also, you can mark languages here. And none of these you would really expect to use as a standard user, but it's important to know that they're there, and the edit source button specifically can cause you some serious problems if you start playing about with that and you don't really know what you're doing. So best to stay away from that.